All right, everybody, welcome back to JayFabe Wrestling. And this time we're doing a fantasy booking of WrestleMania 41. And this is definitely one of the tougher WrestleManias to book here just because there's a lot of unknown. First things first, we'll start at the top is The Rock. Will he be at WrestleMania or not? Obviously, they were building towards Rock versus Roman, it seemed, because The Rock... after WrestleMania, he made an appearance at Bad Blood after Roman Reigns' match. So that was kind of interesting. And even Rock versus Cody was an option, considering they had a lot of bad blood coming after WrestleMania. And that's definitely a question that needs to be answered here. Because if The Rock does not participate, where does Roman Reigns go? Because that's an easy match there. And then we also have, the WWE Championship, the World Heavyweight Championship, CM Punk and John Cena. They seem to be two top contenders to fight for the world title. But then you got a lot of other players here. You got Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, their history. Will they go back to that match? You got the rise of Jey Uso, Seth Rollins. Where does he fit? Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton. So there's definitely a lot to really consider here. And even on the women's side, Becky Lynch has been missing. Charlotte has been gone for a while. So you assume they'll be back for WrestleMania. As well as Jade Cargill as well. You assume she'll also be back for WrestleMania. But these are things we do not know. So I'm definitely just booking out of, straight fantasy booking here. But trying to be realistic as well. So... let's get into it. Even with the brand split, is WWE really following this? Because I checked the other day and I saw Damian Priest was on SmackDown, and I had no idea when he became a SmackDown star. So there's just a lot, going on right now. But I'm gonna try to book the card, and obviously, I'm gonna try to do it in respect to the brand split as well. So I'm looking at who's currently on Raw, who's currently on SmackDown. And, I'm just assuming people will be back from injury, You even got players like Asuka, who's injured. Kairi Sane, who's injured, Question is, will Big E return for the New Day? Who else? There's a lot. There's a lot going on here. So, let's just get into a card. I'm going to book it from the Raw side and then the SmackDown side. So let's start with the Raw matches right now. All right, the first match on the Raw side I have for the Women's Tag Team Championships. I have the Kabuki Warriors versus Damage Control. So right now, Jade and Naomi have the belt. I would have them lose the belt at, let's say, Elimination Chamber to the Kabuki Warriors. And... and then there could be some tension there between the Kabuki Warriors and Damage Control, where, Asuka and Kairi Sane are trying to tell Io in Japanese, let's get rid of Dakota Kai. She's bringing us down. She couldn't even win the Women's IC Championship. She's injured. So there can be some tension there where... Dakota Kai feels like they're gonna turn on her, and then when they finally choose to turn on her, Io Sky will stop those plans. She'll make the save there and say that Damage Control, they were great before the Kabuki Warriors joined, and she's loyal to Dakota Kai, and because without her she wouldn't be the women's champion. So I think this is a nice way to build a tag team match here. Got a lot of great workers. You got a nice history here, and also kind of the blow off to this whole Damage Control thing that kind of started last year when Asuka joined and Kairi Sane joined, and now there's some internal conflict. And obviously this is all hoping that all these women can go. We know Asuka, Kairi, and Dakota are injured. If not, probably have Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez in the tag match here. And I would definitely give the win to Damage Control. I think it'd be a nice feel-good win for both Dakota and Io. All right, next match we got for the Raw Tag Team Championship, The New Day versus Rey Mysterio and Penta. So I would have Rey Mysterio and Penta kind of have a face-off at the Royal Rumble before the New Day can jump them and eliminate both of them. So New Day could be bragging about, how they cheer for guys like Rey Mysterio who turns, on his son, or Penta who's never been in the industry, but they boo guys like the New Day, Kofi Kingston, 15 plus years in the industry, Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, loyal to the New Day, the power of positivity, and that, they didn't turn on Big E. Big E turned on them. And, so I would have the New Day win the Raw Tag Team titles from the Viking Raiders at Elimination Chamber. And I would have Rey and Penta win like a gauntlet tag team match here. And yeah, you could definitely have some good promos here. Rey and Penta, doing some high-flying moves. And the New Day not being impressed with that and saying, these high-flying moves don't mean anything. Because this is tag team wrestling. And the New Day are the greatest tag team of all time. And they're actually even better because they dropped the weight of Big E. So yeah, they could definitely got a lot of heat over there. You can even have a segment where the New Day steal Rey Mysterio's mask and they start kind of parading around with it. And I think this would be a really good match here. 4 amazing workers. And ideally, if Big E's healthy, you would have him, make an appearance here, help Rey Mysterio and Penta get the win. And I think this would be good because I would build this towards Rey versus Penta. The next year, they could have a nice tag team run before Dissension hits. And eventually, Penta could turn on Rey Mysterio. And, they can go from there. And that would definitely be a dream match. All right, next up, we got Dominic Mysterio versus Finn Balor. So there's definitely been some dissension in the Judgment Day, especially between Liv and Finn Balor. And then Dominic and Finn Balor. So, yeah, I'd have this at the Royal Rumble. I don't know if Finn is healthy, so if Finn's in the Royal Rumble, I would actually have them team up, Dominic and Finn. They'll team up for a bit, and then Dominic would turn on Finn Balor and eliminate him. So, yeah, this would cause, Finn Balor to snap the next week on Raw, where, there's a segment where Liv is trying to, cool down the heads there, and Finn could snap and attack Dominic, and the rest of the Judgment Day could hold them back. And the next week Dominic could say, he's the real leader of the Judgment Day, and they kick out Finn Balor. And then you could have the Judgment Day jump Finn Balor, so Carlito. But JD McDonough doesn't jump him, and he makes the save here, so because he's always been riding with Finn Balor. So yeah, each of them have some backup here. And then Liv Morgan could just be motivating Dom, saying, Finn always wanted his spot. Finn always wanted to actually be with me. So, yeah, you can build some nice dissension there, some tension. And, Finn could talk about how, he's tired of, playing second fiddle to Damian Priest, to Dominic Mysterio. Doesn't matter who. He was the first ever Universal Champion and should be treated with some respect. And, they have the match here. You could have Carlito and JD McDonough interfere, but also get ejected from ringside. And here I would actually have Liv Morgan turn on Dominic Mysterio, side himself with Finn Balor, and this would start the Dominic Mysterio face run, which I think would be cool. Pretty good face, so. All right, next up we got for the Women's Intercontinental Championship, Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch. So, yeah, I would have Lyra Valkyria just defend her belt at the Elimination Chamber. And then on the Raw afterwards, she would have like open challenges, every week, she says, because she wants to face the best competition and she wants to prove that she's the best. And after a couple of weeks, Becky Lynch will answer one of the challenges. But Becky says not tonight. She wants the match at WrestleMania because she wants to avenge her loss, because I don't know if you guys remember, but Lyra Valkyria was the one to defeat Becky Lynch for the NXT Women's Championship. So she could say the man has come around to get her win back and to take a belt off you. And Lyra could say, she has a lot of respect for Becky Lynch, but this is her era. And to be honest, she should have just stayed at home and babysit her child. So yeah, and it can get personal, very personal here, where Becky says, she's not done yet, and she's gonna prove everyone that she's still the man. And Lyra says, Becky, it's time to move on and let the new era shine. So yeah, they could be in a couple of tag team matches here where they're building tension, and then you could have straight up them brawling as tag team partners getting counted out. So yeah, I think this would be a really good match, and you got to give Lyra the win here. Just I think it's only right to build some new stars. Becky Lynch could eventually win the women's IC title, because I know it'll look good on her resume, but for WrestleMania, I think it's good to showcase Lyra, and I think they have a really good match here. Their matches at NXT were very solid, and add some depth to the women's division to have Becky in a mid-card match and putting over a new young talent. All right, next up we got for the women's championship on Raw, we got Rhea Ripley defending against Bayley. So yeah, I don't know if you guys seen it on Raw, but they had a little bit of a face-off there before Nia Jax cut them off. So yeah, I think this would be a good match here. Rhea could talk about how she says, back then they said it was the 4 horsewomen era. She's defeated Becky. She's defeated Charlotte. And then you could have Bayley come out and say, yes, you definitely have defeated me, but you never defeated me on the biggest stage. And you never defeated this new Bayley, the one that, won the title last year. The one that, made it far in the Royal Rumble. The longest time ever, I believe. So yeah, you can definitely have some good promos there. And then you could have Bayley win the Elimination Chamber number 1 contenders match. And the feud from there could be very personal as well. Rhea could say, this is mommy, we do things how mommy likes to do, and mommy's always on top. And I'm not down for this hugging stuff. I want the true Bayley. And Bayley could say, you know what, that hugging Bayley was the true Bayley, because that was the Bayley that made history in NXT. That was the Bayley that had the greatest match at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. And she's going to bring that back, and she's going to embrace who she is. So Bayley can kind of go back to being, the lovey, goofy, huggable self there. And, I think they definitely have a great match. 2 awesome workers here. And I would definitely give Rhea Ripley the win here. I think it's just continue to establish Rhea as, one of the greatest women's champions of all time, and continue to showcase her as one of the biggest stars, men or women, in the WWE. All right, next up we got Seth Rollins versus Sami Zayn. So yeah, this match I think would first off be a really good match, and how I'd build is I would actually have Sami Zayn eliminate Seth Rollins from the Royal Rumble, and then a few moments later Seth can come back in, throw Sami out the ring, and then hit the curb stomp on the steel steps. And that would solidify his heel turn, and it makes sense considering, Sami Zayn Helluva kicked Seth Rollins by accident, and, Seth says, he's like, he doesn't want Sami in his business, and Seth is still a little bit bitter because Sami decided to join the bloodline again, rejoin with Roman Reigns, and obviously Seth Rollins hates Roman Reigns, so yeah, there's definitely some history there. And, Seth can talk about how Sami's a hypocrite, and that, he did everything to take the bloodline down, and Sami Zayn is just, coming back like an ex, going back to Roman Reigns, saying, Sami has no balls, he can, throw shots. And then Zayn could talk about how, at least, when he joins up with Roman, it's not because he threw a chair on his back. He hit him in the back. He's not the one stabbing people in the back. He's the one that got stabbed in the back, but he could actually forgive people. Unlike you, Seth, you can barely even apologize. So, yeah, it can definitely get really personal here. They could have a couple brawls here and there. I think this will be a really good match. And I would actually give the win here to Seth Rollins, and I would actually have Karrion Kross interfere here because he was trying to get Sami Zayn to the dark side. So this is kind of one of his ways, and I think it'll eventually lead to a Sami heel turn. All right, next match we got Wade Barrett versus Drew McIntyre. So yes, guys, I am fantasy booking here, and they kind of teased this here where Drew, he was kind of getting into the face of Wade Barrett here, where Wade Barrett's kind of like calling him out for some of his actions. So I think this is definitely a possibility, and I think it'd be really cool to have Wade Barrett back in the ring. How I would book it here is I would actually have Drew McIntyre get eliminated from the Royal Rumble, and then Wade Barrett would also be in the Rumble. He'd be the next entrant, like right after Drew got eliminated, so Wade kind of brushes him off and gets in the ring, and then Drew can just snap and eliminate Wade Barrett, hit him with the Claymore kick, and kind of put him out of injury here, and then you would have Drew in the Elimination Chamber, and you could have Wade Barrett return here, hit the elbow. I forgot what he calls that move, but cost Drew his elimination, and then they could just talk about their history. Drew could talk about how he was what Wade Barrett was supposed to be, leader of the Nexus, great potential, but where did you end up in the commentary? And then Drew could talk about how they were friends for a long time, but when Wade was on top in the Nexus, he never asked Drew to join him, and now Drew is on top, and Wade's on commentary. He says it's crazy how things have changed. Wade could talk about he never really got his last match. He never really got to go the way out, and says he would love to go against his friend Drew McIntyre, but also show him a lesson that Drew's been too cocky and arrogant, and that he's gonna get some bad news at WrestleMania. So I think it would be a hard physical match. Drew McIntyre will get the win. Next up we got Jey Uso versus Logan Paul. So after a Rumble, Jey Uso could talk about even though he didn't win, that it's still gonna be Jey Uso's year. Starts yeeting, and then you could have Logan Paul come out and say he doesn't get it. The fans boo him, an amazing talent, but they cheer someone for being known as, Roman Reigns, side piece, and someone who just says yeet. So Logan Paul can say, they hate me because they think I'm all substance, but that's the exact definition of what Jey Uso is. He's out here with rappers thinking he's a celebrity. I am a real celebrity, and the best part is that I'm actually a better wrestler than Jey Uso. So it can get very personal here. And Jey Uso could be like, you know what? They don't like you because you're just an asshole. So they could have some good promos here. They could definitely cost each other at the Elimination Chamber. Let's say they're both in it, and Jay could eliminate Logan, but Logan can come back later in the match and eliminate Jey Uso. You can even have Logan Paul, his brother Jake Paul, he can come out, and you can even have Jimmy Uso kind of make the save there on like one of the Saturday Night main events or whatever. I think this will be a really good match. Two athletic, great wrestlers, and you got to give Jey Uso the win here. He's super over. And, I think Logan Paul can take a loss. You can even have Jake Paul interfere. You can have Jimmy Uso get Jey Uso's back. So it kind of plays off, the WrestleMania last year where they're feuding, but now they're brothers again. And you can even have Jey Uso do the splash on the announce table. And, I think, again, two high flyers, and it should be a great match. Next up, we got Sheamus versus Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship title versus career. So, I would actually have Sheamus get his comeuppings on Braun Breaker, eliminate him at the Royal Rumble. And, Sheamus could talk about, again, he's trying to get that IC title match and, become a Grand Slam champion. Braun Breaker says, you know what, man? You need to stop. You don't deserve it. How many times have I beat you? I'm done with you. You're old news. So, in upcoming weeks, Sheamus can kind of build momentum and say, he's ready for his shot. And Braun says, you know what, Sheamus? I'll give you the shot if you put your career on the line. And then Sheamus is like kind of thinking about it and hesitating. He says, I don't think so. He pretends to walk back and then boom, hits the bro kick and says, yeah, fella, I'm going to kick your ass at WrestleMania and become Intercontinental Champion. So yeah, I think you can have some good promos about Sheamus talking about, his history and that he needs to be a Grand Slam champion to complete his legacy. He's won Money in the Bank, WrestleMania, World title matches, Royal Rumble, WWE Champion, King of the Ring. He's just missing that IC title, and he's going to get it at Mania. And Breakker can talk about, this is his first Mania, and that he's ready to become a legend by killing a legend at WrestleMania. And, and they could have some nice brawls here and there. Sheamus could, hit the bro kick, or Bianca hit the spear through the barricade. And I think it'll be, again, hard-hitting match. These two have really great matches, great chemistry. And I would give Sheamus the win here. Finally, Sheamus becomes IC title. He's been chasing it for almost 2-3 years. So I think it's a nice WrestleMania moment. All right, the main event for the Raw side for the World Heavyweight Championship. You got the Ring General Gunther versus John Cena. So, yeah, I actually would have John Cena not win the Royal Rumble, but he would come up close, very close. And next week on Raw, you could say, you know what, he gave it a shot. And Royal Rumble wasn't his night. And he has to find a new path to WrestleMania. And you could have Gunther come out actually and laugh at John Cena and say, give it up, man. You think you're going to beat me for the world title? You can't even get to WrestleMania. And if you somehow do, you have no shot against me. Because they used to chant, you can't wrestle. I'm the ring general. I'm Gunther. So, yeah. You could have Cena get his way into Elimination Chamber and actually win the Elimination Chamber. I think it'll be a nice feel-good moment. And after the match, Gunther could just beat the crap out of John Cena in the Elimination Chamber. So, yeah, and then you show Cena training, recovering, some promos. Gunther could laugh and say he's not scared of some old man. He's not scared of, Mr. Hustle, loyalty, respect, because he is the respect. He puts the respect in the wrestling business. So yeah, then you can have Cena come out, cut a couple battle raps here, kind of going back to throwback Cena. And they could even have a brawl where Cena says, he'll do whatever it takes. And he even hits Gunther with a steel chain, kind of like back in the day. See, this is the old Cena. He doesn't care how he does it, but he wants to get the win. And, be a great match, hard-hitting match. But I would have Gunther retain and keeps the Cena chasing number 17 storyline going till the end of the year. All right, now we're going to do the SmackDown matches. First off, for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, DIY versus the Motor City Machine Guns. So, yeah, at Royal Rumble, there's a 2 or 3 falls match. I would actually have both teams get a fall and the last pin be a double pin. And DIY would still be the champions here. The Motor City Machine Guns would want a rematch, but, DIY can say, we're finished with you, back of the line. So yeah, the Motor City Machine Guns could win like a tag team turmoil, let's say at Elimination Chamber, to get one more shot. And pretty basic feud here. They could have a couple singles matches between the four, and some good promos where DIY can talk about how they put tag team wrestling on the map in NXT, and that they were so good that that's why we had to feud with each other, because that's how great we were. And Motor City Machine Guns can talk about how, while you were in NXT, before you were doing that, we were putting, tag team wrestling on the map, wherever in TNA, So yeah, I think, again, these two tag teams will have a great match. And I would give this win to Motor City Machine Guns, give them their nice first big win at WrestleMania in their debut match. And I think it's pretty cool to also see DIY teaming up at WrestleMania as well. All right, next up we got Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair. So, as I mentioned earlier, I would have Kabuki Warriors defeat Jade and Bianca. Sorry, it was Naomi and Bianca. I I would actually have, let's say, like, Damage Control is also trying to help out Kabuki Warriors. I would have Jade come out, but she would accidentally, cost him the match, hit Bianca by accident. So there's a little bit of tension there. And Bianca can kind of berate Jade, say, why'd you come out? We didn't need your help. And yeah, eventually she would find out that Naomi was the one who attacked her. So you would have Jade versus Naomi at the Elimination Chamber. And when Jade's about to, take Naomi out with a steel chair, Naomi says, "Don't hit me. It was Bianca who told me to do it." And yeah, that's how you start the feud. Bianca would turn heel and say, that she was the roughest, toughest. But then when Jade came on the block, everyone wanted her. Everyone was cheering for her. And she said she had to get rid of Jade because, she doesn't want to do it in the middle of the ring because she likes Jade. She's her friend. So she tried to take her out. And Jade could talk about how, you're not the roughest, you're the toughest, you're the slimiest, you're a snake. So yeah, they could have some nice brawls here and there. Just Jade talking trash about Bianca. Bianca talking about trash about Jade, saying, I'm going to send her ass back to the competition. So yeah, I think, again, they don't really have to go too long here. Just because Bianca is undefeated at WrestleMania, I would have like Naomi kind of help her distract Jade. Bianca can get like a roll-up win when holding the ropes. So yeah, I think it's be a really good match and they can continue the feud down the line. All right, next up we got AJ Styles versus Damian Priest. So yeah, I just realized Damian Priest was moved to SmackDown. So yeah, I would just have him cut a promo. Let's say, after Royal Rumble saying, even though he didn't win, that, he's going to take over SmackDown and he's going to turn SmackDown into the Damian Priest show. And then I'll have AJ Styles return from injury and say, this is still the house that AJ Styles built. And then he says, I had a problem with you, Damian Priest. Do you remember WrestleMania 38? And then they could talk about how, it was AJ versus Edge. And you cost me that match at WrestleMania. And then my career went downhill from there, I was feuding with the Judgment Day. And then, I became a tag team wrestler. I lost who I am. And it was all started because of you and that loss at WrestleMania. And Priest can say, you know what, AJ, he's going to be a man. I apologize for screwing you at WrestleMania, and that's that. But everything else, you cannot blame on me. So yeah, AJ says, you know what, no worries. Shakes his hand, and then boom, can hit him, and then hit the Styles Clash. And yeah, AJ can, get personal and say, Damian Priest, he ruined my career, so I'm going to ruin his before his career even gets started because he can never have a career like me, AJ Styles. And then Priest could talk about, you know what, AJ, I was a world champion last year. When were you world champion? So yeah, they can have some nice heated promos here. They can have a couple attacks on each other. And I would actually give AJ the win. I just feel like, AJ, he's kind of lost a lot of luster. And I feel like, he should have one more great run in him. And I think it should start at WrestleMania. All right, next up we have, for the Women's United States Championship, Chelsea Green defending against Piper Niven. So yeah, I think, the feud here is pretty simple. Obviously, Piper Niven and Chelsea, they formed some kind of partnership here. I would have them fight for the tag titles on a SmackDown. And yeah, I would have Piper Niven get pinned. And then Chelsea kind of berate her. So yeah. And then another week, Piper Niven could lose a match and Chelsea can again berate her and says, there's no room for losers in Chelsea Green's USA. So yeah. And then one more week, Piper Niven could finally snap and slap Chelsea Green. And then Piper Niven could win a number one contenders battle royal. And then Chelsea's trying to apologize to Piper, saying, everything I said, I don't mean it. You can get out of this match at WrestleMania. You don't need to face me. And Piper's like, yeah, okay, And then next week, Chelsea and Piper in a match. And then I would have Piper not tag in, kind of turn on Chelsea. And, after the match, make the challenge, you and me at WrestleMania for the Women's U.S. Championship. And, Chelsea could talk about how she brought Piper Niven up. She used to be someone named Dewdrop, and now she's actually known because of me. And that, she's the most watched women's wrestler. And Piper Niven was second because she was aligned with me. So, and then Piper Niven could say, you know what, sometimes I had enough of Chelsea Green's talking, and she's going to take her title at WrestleMania. So, I think this would be a good storyline. Solid match here. And I would actually have Chelsea retain. She could do, holding the tights or holding the rope, something like that. But, it should be a good match. All right, next up, we got the United States Championship ladder match. We got Shinsuke Nakamura defending against LA Knight. Andrade, Jimmy Uso, Carmelo Hayes, and Braun Strowman. So, you got a lot of good talent here. I couldn't really think about... I would have Shinsuke, beat LA Knight by cheating. Next week, beat Braun Strowman by cheating. And Shinsuke says, he's the greatest U.S. champ of all time. And then Jimmy Uso can come out and say, he wants the match against Shinsuke. Carmelo Hayes could come out. Andrade could come out. Then LA Knight and Braun Strowman can also come out because they got screwed. And they make the match. Since Shinsuke says he's the greatest of all time, let's have him prove it at WrestleMania in a ladder match for the U.S. Championship. So, you could have, a couple 6-man tag matches here, a couple brawls, people, stealing the U.S. belt and celebrating with it. And I think it'd be a really good match. And I would actually have Jimmy Uso get the win here, finally, to establish himself as a singles star here. And, I think it only makes sense because Jey Uso won the IC title. Just to give Jimmy Uso something, he can do a splash from top of the ladder in the match as well. And, with a lot of great talent in here. You got the big man in Braun, you got the high flying in Andrade and Carmelo Hayes, you got the striking ability of Nakamura and Jimmy Uso, and then you got the charisma of LA Knight. I think he got all the talent in the world here to steal the show. And I think this would be a great showcase for Jimmy Uso to finally get a big win at WrestleMania. All right, next up, we got for the Women's Championship on SmackDown, we got Tiffany Stratton defending against Charlotte. So, I would actually have Charlotte return and win the Royal Rumble. And then, she's deciding which champion to face. And she's kind of leaning towards Rhea because, she has history with Rhea. And then Tiffany could say, you know what, I always knew Charlotte was scared of me. And then Charlotte can kind of change her mind and then attack Tiffany Stratton, put her in the figure 8. And you can have some good history here of, Tiffany, saying Charlotte's a has-been and that her time is over. There's no queen time here. This is Tiffy time. And then Charlotte, can talk about how, when Charlotte's here, it's always her time, and she's going to win another world title at WrestleMania. And Tiffy time is going to be her 15 minutes of fame, and that's about to run out. So, definitely have some cool promos here. Tiffany again can talk about how, everyone's tired of Charlotte, and that, they want to cheer for Tiffany. So, I would actually have this match, and I would actually have Tiffany get the clean win here. And then after the match, she could go for the handshake, and I would have Charlotte turn heel here. So it kind of solidifies Tiffany as a face, Charlotte as a heel. And I think it makes sense because Tiffany's very over here. And I think it'd be a great feud to establish Tiffany. All right, next up we got Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens. In the Royal Rumble, it's Kevin versus Cody, obviously, in the ladder match. I would have Sami Zayn come out, but he decides he can't do it, walks to the back. And, Cody, he's kind of hurt and distracted. KO kind of hits the powerbomb, and he's about to win. Then Randy's music can come out, and he can drag Kevin off the ladder and hit an RKO as he's coming down. And Cody could get the win. And then Randy's in the Rumble match, and you can have KO come and eliminate him. So and Kevin could talk about how, he thought him and Randy were good friends. Cody was the problem here, but now, Randy, you're the problem. And I'm going to solve you at WrestleMania. So, And these two have great chemistry. Obviously, their last match ended in a nice brawl here, so we can continue to do those brawls here. Randy can hit some RKOs. KO can hit some stunners. Got some great promos. Kevin Owens can talk about how Randy's fragile and that he's finally going to break him at WrestleMania. And Randy could throw shots at Kevin Owens saying, you know, I'm a 14-time world champion and you only won it once. So, yeah, again, good feud here. And very personal. I would give Kevin Owens the win. I just think his character is very hot at the time, so may only makes sense. But this feud could definitely continue, and this could even be a gimmick match, considering, you know, they've had a lot of brawls. Maybe do a little street fight here or last man standing, whatever it is. You know, Kevin Owens thrives in this environment, and so does Randy Orton. So, yeah, I think it'll be a good match, and Kevin Owens gets the win. All right, next up we got Solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu. So yeah, Solo and Jacob Fatu, they'll be both in the Royal Rumble. They'll be putting in work, and but Roman Reigns will eliminate both of them, and yes, and then Solo could talk about, you know, he's feeling bad, like he felt like he failed the bloodline, and Jacob Fatu says, "No, you didn't, man. You know, we love you, Solo." And so yeah, Solo will be in the Elimination Chamber and he'll lose. And then the next night on SmackDown, someone else is calling the shots. I won't give the spoiler here, but yeah, Jacob would turn on Solo and say, "I used to love you, Solo, but now I hate you." So yeah, and it could be simple, you know. Solo, he kept failing as a tribal chief, and the person that told Jacob to turn on him says, you know, we don't need this guy in our bloodline. So Jacob kind of had to, you know, take him out. He didn't want to, but he had to take him out. And Solo could talk about how, you know, he brought Jacob Fatu into the bloodline, and he's going to take him out the bloodline at WrestleMania. So, yeah, they can have some brawls here and there where the Tongas are helping out Jacob. Solo could beat them in 1 week beat Tongaloa, the other week beat Tama Tonga. And yeah, so they're kind of out of the equation here, so it's kind of one-on-one, Jacob versus Solo. And yeah, you got to give Jacob Fatu the win here. He has so much potential. He's super over. And yeah, he can even, like, before he hits the final Samoan Spike, he says, "I love you, Solo." Hits a Samoan Spike, 1, 2, 3. Jacob Fatu gets the win. And yeah, he's the new future of the bloodline. All right, next up we got for the WWE Championship. I would actually have this main event one of the nights here. We got Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, defending against the best in the world, CM Punk. So yes, I would have CM Punk win the Royal Rumble. Obviously, they had a very intense promo where Cody says, you know, things have changed. You're the one chasing me now. And, you know, he doesn't have to worry about CM Punk. So yeah, I think, you know, after the match, CM Punk can kind of decide who he wants to choose. And he chooses Cody Rhodes. He says he chose Cody Rhodes because, you know, A, he has a lot of respect for Cody Rhodes, but B, he is envious of Cody Rhodes, and he wants to take his spot. He says, you know, when Cody returned from the company that he created and he jumped ship, you know, he says that's how he envisioned his return to be, you know, to finally get the respect, to finally, you know, to be treated like a real star. But then Cody Rhodes, he did it first. He stole it first. And he got to, you know, use all that momentum to become champion. And they said he came back, he was on the same path. Then he got injured. And now he's envious because he doesn't know if he can get back to, you know, where he was. And Cody can talk about, you know, how he has a lot of respect for CM Punk, but let's face it, Punk, you wouldn't be here if you weren't such an asshole in the other locker room. So yeah, there could definitely be some shoot promos here where CM Punk can talk about Cody and his friends, you know, and he's talking about how Cody jumped ship because he's the one, you know, he knew that they were sinking. So yeah, they could definitely get into some very heated promos here. And Punk can talk about, you know, he has a lot of respect for Dusty. And like he said last year, he can't lose to Dusty's kid. So yeah, they could definitely have some nice intense brawls here. And I would actually give CM Punk the win here. You can either have him turn heel and win, or just win straight up. And then maybe Cody can turn heel down the line. But yeah, I think this is a long time coming, especially for CM Punk. You can finally say he main event in WrestleMania, and he can finally get, his last world title run, And I think it makes sense. Cody had a great run with the belt, but yeah, I think the stars align, Last year, Punk got injured, so it definitely made sense for Cody to beat Roman Reigns. This year, though, I think, with Punk's momentum, with the great work he's done the last year, I think it's time for him to, finally get his moment at WrestleMania. All right, and now we got the main event of night 2. Pretty obvious here. Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief, versus The Rock, the Brahma Bull. So yeah, I think a lot of people are a little confused because the Raw on Netflix, The Rock, he looked very corporate there, complimenting, Cody Rhodes, and then after Roman beat Solo, he gave his respects to Roman Reigns. So yeah, but I think they're trying to throw us off here because, The Rock, like I said before, he returned that bad blood, kind of confronting Roman Reigns. So I think that makes sense. And maybe they're just trying to throw us for a curveball here. But yeah, how I would book is at the Royal Rumble, I would have, Roman dominate The Rock. His entrance will play. He's not in the Rumble match, but he will come out and Roman will kind of look at him a little confused, and then Roman can get eliminated from behind, and then The Rock would leave. And then, Roman's trying to get answers from The Rock. The Rock's not showing up. Paul Heyman, he's trying to call The Rock. He's not coming. So yeah. And then at Elimination Chamber, you could have Paul Heyman turn on Roman Reigns. And then the next night on Raw, he says he's turned on Roman because he's aligned with the true Tribal Chief, The Rock. So yeah, and then you could also have The Rock call the shots on Jacob Fatu turning on Solo, and then Jacob Fatu could help beat up on The Rock with the Tongas there. So that's kind of the new bloodline there. So yeah. And then Rock could talk about, this goes all the way back to 2015 where Roman won the Rumble and The Rock got booed out the building. And now Roman's trying to say he's the man, when The Rock, he was there to save his ass, And The Rock could talk about how, he lost to Cody Rhodes. I beat Cody Rhodes last year. I did my job, but he lost. And then what does he do? He teams up with Cody Rhodes. What does he do? He teams up with CM Punk. And says, he ain't the true head of the table because, without The Rock, there would not be no Roman Reigns. And yeah, Roman Reigns can talk about how, The Rock, as great as you are, you never touch what I've done in this industry. And the bloodline started to crumble once you returned. So yeah, they can have some good promos there. And you got to give Roman Reigns the win. And then I think after the match, maybe they could definitely shake hands and embrace because that might be The Rock's last match. He can kind of endorse Roman as a guy, and that's that. All right, guys, let me know what you guys think of my card. Obviously there's a lot of fantasy here. I'm assuming that The Rock will be able to wrestle. I'm assuming a lot of these people who are injured will be able to come back, such as Jade, Asuka, Kairi Sane. Even Finn Balor, I know he's injured as well. And then yeah, I'm banking on some people coming back like Wade Barrett. So yeah, but I think I definitely have a good card here. Just looking at it, I think the title matches are very cool. You kind of got the Young Bucks, Cody, even though he's not a Young Buck, but the new generation, Cody and Gunther, taking on the old generation of CM Punk and Cena, both trying to get their last runs in here. Then you got The Rock and Roman. This has been brewing for a very long time, so I think this is the place to do it in Las Vegas. And then you got some feuds blowing off. KO and Randy, that should be a good. Seth and Sami, that are kind of building towards that. And I got some nice entertainment as well. You got Jey Uso versus Logan Paul. That should be cool. What else? We got, the U.S. title ladder match there. Jey Uso finally getting his moment. Sheamus finally getting his moment at defeating Braun Breaker. Got some cool tag team matches here, like the New Day against Rey and Penta. And yeah, if you can blow off the Big E return as well, that'd be amazing. You got Finn Balor, Dominic blowing off their feud as well. And then the women's matches, I think, are really good. Chelsea and Piper Niven. That makes sense considering their storyline and their partnership. Becky versus Lyra, again, playing off the history. Tiffany versus Charlotte. And even Bayley versus Rhea. These are matches, pretty fresh and pretty new to get. So definitely something to look forward to. So yeah, guys, that's my fantasy booking. Looking forward to Royal Rumble to see how this will all play out. This has been one of the most unpredictable Rumbles to call, and even the WrestleMania season, because there's a lot of players you don't know if they're in or out. So yeah, it's definitely an exciting time. Let me know what you guys think of my card. I'm gonna run down through the matches right now. Let's go. All right, here are the matches from Raw for the Women's Tag Team Championship. The Kabuki Warriors versus Damage Control. For the World Tag Team Championships on Raw, got the New Day versus Rey Mysterio and Penta. Dominic Mysterio versus Finn Balor, Battle of the Judgment Day. For the Women's Intercontinental Championship, Lyra Valkyria defending against Becky Lynch. For the Women's World Title on Raw, Rhea Ripley defending against Bayley. Sami Zayn versus Seth Rollins. Wade Barrett versus Drew McIntyre. Jey Uso versus Logan Paul for the Intercontinental Championship title versus career. Braun Breaker defending against Sheamus. And for the World Heavyweight Championship, Gunther versus John Cena. And here are the matches on SmackDown. For the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, DIY versus the Motor City Machine Guns. Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair. AJ Styles versus Damian Priest. For the Women's United States Championship, Chelsea Green defending against Piper Niven. For the United States Championship in a ladder match, Shinsuke Nakamura versus LA Knight versus Andrade versus Jimmy Uso versus Braun Strowman versus Carmelo Hayes. For the Women's Championship on SmackDown, Tiffany Stratton defending against Charlotte Flair. Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens in a street fight. Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa. For the WWE World Championship, Cody Rhodes defending against CM Punk. And in the main event, Roman Reigns versus The Rock. So yeah, guys, that is my card. Let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe. Catch you in the next one. Peace.